The strange alien farm. The ship landed slowly on the quiet planet of Valoranine. Dust rose into the air as the engine shut down. This place was far from Earth, light years away, but it was calm, green, and beautiful. Big blue trees waved in the wind. The sky was purple. Small silver birds flew in circles over the wide open land. Cade, a young human farmer, stepped out first. He looked around. The alien farm looked peaceful, but something felt strange. "This place doesn't feel normal," he said. His friend Lena, another human, laughed. "Come on, Cade. It's just a farm. Aliens grow crops too." They had come with a team of 10 humans. The alien government had asked Earth for help. Their planet was good for farming, but their machines were breaking. The trade was simple. Humans help grow food, and the aliens give Earth some advanced tech. The aliens greeted them kindly. They looked tall and thin, with pale green skin and long fingers. Their leader, Senkor, smiled. "Welcome to our farm," he said. "Please, stay on the marked land. Do not go near the Heart Zone." Cade looked at the map. The Heart Zone was a small circle in the middle of the fields. It was marked red. "Why not go there?" Cade asked. Senkor's smile faded. "It is old ground. Dangerous. It must remain untouched." Cade nodded, but the warning stayed in his mind. The first few days were normal. The humans used alien tools to plow the land. The soil was rich and soft. The crops grew fast, much faster than on Earth. Lena loved working here. She said the plants were glowing with life. But Cade felt something different. At night, when the wind stopped and the farm went quiet, he heard rumbling. Soft sounds, like thunder underground. Once, when he stood near the Heart Zone, he felt the ground shake under his boots, only for a second. Just a small tremble. But it was real. He told Lena. She laughed again. "You and your scary stories." But one night, something happened. Cade couldn't sleep. He got out of his bunk and walked alone to the edge of the Heart Zone. The moonlight made the fields look silver. The wind was still. The farm was too quiet. He stood near the warning signs. The air was warm, warmer than before. Suddenly, the ground made a deep sound. Like a breath, a long, low growl echoed from below the soil. Cade stepped back. What was that? He crouched down, touched the ground with his hand. It was hot. Then he saw it, a glow coming from a crack in the dirt, the soft, golden light shining upward. He ran back to camp. The next morning, Cade went to see old Miro, one of the older aliens. Miro had wrinkled skin and eyes that looked like he had seen too much. "There's something down there," Cade said. "In the Heart Zone. It's glowing. It growls at night." Miro looked away. "You heard it," Cade said. "Didn't you?" Miro nodded slowly. "Long ago, before the farms, there was a beast here, a creature from another time. We buried it to keep it asleep." Cade's eyes widened. "What kind of creature?" Miro whispered, "A dragon." Cade almost laughed. "That's just a myth." "No," Miro said. "It is real. Its name is Fornak. It sleeps in the ground, and it must never wake." Miro warned him again, never dig in the Heart Zone. But now, Cade was too curious, too drawn to the glow. He couldn't forget the sound, the heat, the light. That night, Cade and Lena took digging tools and went to the Heart Zone. "You sure about this?" Lena asked. Cade nodded. "Just a quick look. If we find nothing, we cover it up." They dug slowly. The ground was soft at first, but a few feet down, they hit something hard. Metal. Cade wiped the dirt away. It was a strange round door made of black steel. It had strange symbols on it, neither human nor alien. In the center, a round crystal pulsed with golden light. Lena gasped. "What is this?" Cade reached out and touched the crystal. Click. The door hissed. A warm mist escaped as it slowly opened. Inside, there was a dark tunnel. The air smelled old, like fire and stone. A low sound came from within, a deep, slow breath. Cade looked at Lena. She was frozen in fear. "We weren't supposed to find this," she whispered. Cade nodded. "But we did." The Heart Zone. The dark tunnel below the metal door was quiet, too quiet. Cade and Lena stood at the edge, staring into the unknown. The air felt heavy, like something ancient was waiting in the shadows. A soft golden light pulsed from deep inside. It was like the tunnel itself was breathing, slow, deep, and alive. Cade looked at Lena. "We go in, just a little further." Lena hesitated. "This isn't just a hole in the ground. This is something else." Still, she followed. The tunnel walls were smooth and black, like stone melted by fire long ago. Strange markings covered the walls. They glowed faintly as the two walked deeper. The air was warm, and the sound of their footsteps echoed like whispers. Then they entered a wide chamber. It was huge, larger than any underground space should be. The ceiling was high, and the walls curved like the inside of a great shell. In the center lay a massive shape, curled up, silent. Cade's breath caught in his throat. It was the dragon. But this was no normal dragon. Its body was a mix of living flesh and alien metal. Its scales looked like dark steel, shining with strange patterns. Glowing tubes ran along its spine like veins. Its claws were long and sharp, but still. The creature's wings were folded tightly against its body. And it was breathing. Slow, heavy breaths. In and out. Its huge chest rose and fell. Golden fire flickered inside its half-closed eyes, even though it slept. Lena stepped back. "This thing, it's alive." Cade walked closer. He couldn't help it. Something pulled him forward, like a thread connecting him to the beast. He stopped when he reached its front claw. Something was held between its fingers. A map. Old, burnt, and glowing faintly. Cade touched it. The moment his fingers made contact, the map flashed, and the glowing symbols burned into the skin of his hand like a tattoo. He screamed in pain. The dragon's eye twitched open. Just for a second. A bright slit of fire stared at him, then closed again. Cade stumbled back. "What was that?" Lena asked, grabbing his arm. Cade held up his hand. The glowing mark was still there. The map was gone, completely vanished. "I think it gave it to me," he said, breathless. "It wants us to know something." Suddenly, the ground above began to shake. Dust fell from the ceiling. The tunnel behind them started to close. "Run," Cade shouted. They ran up the tunnel, just in time to crawl out before the door sealed shut with a loud boom. The golden light disappeared. The crack in the ground closed. Everything was still again. Back at the farm, the alien leader Senkor looked furious. "You were told never to enter the Heart Zone," he shouted. Cade raised his hand. "There's something down there. A living creature. It's breathing. It gave me this." He showed the glowing mark. The alien's eyes narrowed. "You've made a grave mistake," Senkor said. "Now you are part of this. It has chosen you." "What is it?" Lena asked. "What is that thing?" Senkor turned away. "A creature from a time before memory. A war beast made by ancient hands. It destroyed worlds before it was buried." Later that night, an older alien named Villan, a quiet worker from the fields, approached Cade in secret. "I saw the mark," he said. "It means the dragon trusts you." "You know what it is?" Cade asked. Villan nodded. "Its name is Fornak. It is not evil. It was made for war, but it chose peace. It fought against its creators." "Why was it buried?" Lena asked. "Because the truth was dangerous," Villan whispered. "If people knew the dragon was still alive, they would try to use it again." "Use it for what?" Villan looked up at the stars. "Control. Power. Fear." Cade sat in silence. His hand still glowed. He could feel something changing inside him, like a fire waking up. "Why me?" he asked. Velon smiled. "Because you listened, and because it believes you will protect it." That night, Cade dreamed. He stood in the same chamber, but it was bright and alive. The dragon spoke, not with words, but thoughts. "They will come. They will try to wake me for war. I sleep to protect the stars. But if they force me, I will burn again." Cade woke up, sweating. Something big was coming, and he was now in the middle of it. The secret keepers. Cade didn't sleep much after the dream. The dragon's words echoed in his mind like a silent drum. "They will come. They will try to wake me for war. I sleep to protect the stars. If they force me, I will burn again." The glowing mark on his hand hadn't faded. In fact, it had grown slightly, spreading up his wrist, like roots of fire under his skin. But it didn't hurt. It felt alive. Lena noticed the change. "It's growing, Cade. That can't be normal." Cade nodded slowly. "I don't think this is just a map anymore. I think it's a connection. The dragon is inside my head." The next day, the alien leaders held a private meeting. Cade and Lena were not invited, but Velon came to them after. "They're afraid," Velon said. "They think Vornak is waking because of you." Cade sat down on a flat rock. The alien sun was rising, casting pink light across the fields. "I didn't do anything wrong," he said. "We were just curious." "You opened the door," Velon replied. "You touched the claw. And now, the bond has begun." "What bond?" Lena asked. Velon looked at them both. "You need to see someone. He's been hiding for years, but he knows everything." That night, Velon led them deep into the edge of the farm where few workers went. Behind a broken wall of old stone was a hidden cave. Inside was a small room, lit by blue crystal lamps. And in the corner sat an alien with gray skin and a long beard made of thin wires. His name was Joran. He didn't speak at first. He simply stared at Cade's hand, his eyes glowing softly. "Vornak chose you," Joran said. "I've been waiting for this day." "You knew this would happen?" Cade asked. Joran nodded. "Yes. The dragon cannot be awakened by force. It must choose. For hundreds of years, it slept. But it has always waited for someone with a clear heart, a heart that wants to protect, not control." Cade was quiet. "I didn't ask for this." "No," Joran said gently. "But neither did Vornak. You are alike." Joran told them everything. A long time ago, there was a war between ancient races. One of them built beasts of fire and metal to win. Vornak was the strongest, more powerful than any ship, any weapon, but he turned against his creators. He saw how many lives were lost. He didn't want to destroy anymore. So he left the war. He came to Valoranine and let the people seal him beneath the ground. But only a few aliens like Joran knew the truth. The rest were told that the area was dangerous, cursed. Over the years, Joran said, governments change. Stories became legends. But we watched. We waited. For what? Lena asked. For the day someone would hear the dragon's call again. Cade leaned back, his mind full of questions. But if the leaders are afraid, what will they do? Joran's face turned serious. They may try to destroy Vornak before he fully wakes. Lena's eyes widened. Can they do that? Joran shook his head. No, but they might try. And that could bring war again. If Vornak thinks he's under attack, he will defend himself. Cade stood. Then we need to protect him. You're just a farmer, Lena whispered. We both are. Cade looked down at the glowing fire under his skin. Not anymore. That evening, the air over the alien farm changed. Dark clouds gathered. The wind began to hum with energy. Birds flew away. The ground felt tense. Joran looked to the sky. It's beginning. What is? Cade asked. The council sent a signal. Reinforcements are coming. They don't want Vornak to wake. Lena stared up. You mean they're sending ships? Weapons? Yes, Joran said. They plan to destroy the Heart Zone. Tonight. Cade clenched his fists. The mark on his hand burned like fire. No, he said. We won't let them. Cade and Lena ran to the old chamber entrance, where the door had once opened. Now it was sealed shut again, but the ground above it glowed with golden cracks. Vornak was waking, slowly, painfully, like a mountain rising from deep sleep. Cade knelt and pressed his glowing hand to the ground. Please, he whispered, don't be afraid. I'm here. For a moment, the wind stopped. The clouds paused. Then the earth pulsed. Once. A voice echoed in his mind. I feel you, human. I remember your kindness. They come with fear in their hearts. But you come with light. I will not fight, but I will not fall again. Above them, bright lights appeared in the sky. Alien warships, dark, sharp, and humming with power. Cade stood slowly, eyes glowing with the dragon's fire. They're coming, Lena said, afraid. Cade looked at her. Then let them come, he said. We'll stand between them and the dragon. Betrayal below. Night fell over Valor-9 like a dark curtain pulled across the stars. But this night didn't feel peaceful. The skies above the alien farm were no longer calm. Black ships circled in silence, their lights blinking like hungry eyes. A low hum filled the air, steady, threatening. The sound of war approaching. Down below, Cade stood near the Heart Zone, his hand still glowing with the dragon's mark. The golden lines had now reached up to his elbow, pulsing with soft energy. Lena stood beside him, eyes locked on the skies. How many ships do you think that is? She asked. Cade didn't answer. He was listening. Not to the ships, but to something deeper, beneath the soil. The breathing. The heartbeat. Vornak was stirring. In the shadows of the old barn, Joran spoke quietly with Vilon. They will not listen to reason, Joran said. The council believes Vornak is a threat. He's still asleep, Vilon replied. He hasn't harmed anyone. They don't care. They fear what they don't understand. Joran looked at the glowing sky and sighed. Fear always leads to destruction. Meanwhile, in the central command building of the alien farm, the leader Senkor spoke with a shadowed figure over a communicator. It has bonded with the human, Senkor said, his voice low. A voice answered coldly. Then we must remove the human, quietly, before the creature fully wakes. Senkor hesitated. But if the bond breaks violently, do it. Now. The screen went dark. That same hour, 2 alien soldiers approached Cade and Lena at the edge of the Heart Zone. Commander Senkor wishes to speak with you, one said. Cade turned slowly. Something felt wrong. The soldiers' hands were too close to their weapons. Why? Lena asked. It is urgent. They didn't have a choice. Cade gave Lena a small nod. We'll go, he said. But as they walked, Cade whispered, if anything happens, run. Inside the building, Senkor greeted them with a false smile. You have caused quite a stir, he said. The council is concerned. I didn't wake the dragon, Cade replied. It called me. That is the problem. Senkor said, we cannot allow it to continue. Lena stepped forward. We came to help your people, not to start a war. You were farmers, Senkor said coldly. Now you are something else. Something dangerous. Without warning, he raised his hand. A sharp pain shot through Cade's head. The room spun. He fell to the ground, unable to move. Lena screamed. Aliens grabbed her from behind and dragged her away. Cade, she cried. Cade, help. Then everything went dark. Cade woke up in a cold, silent place. He was underground, inside an alien prison. The walls were smooth and gray, glowing slightly with blue light. The air smelled of metal and dust. He tried to stand, but his arms were chained. The glowing mark on his hand was dim now, as if the connection to Vornak had been cut. A voice echoed from the corner. "You are the one the dragon chose." Cade turned. In the shadows sat an old alien, eyes tired, skin cracked like old stone. He looked like he had been there for years. "I'm called Resic," he said. "I was a keeper once, like Joran." Cade nodded slowly. "You know about Vornak?" Resic's eyes gleamed. "I was there, when we buried him." Resic told his story. Long ago, Vornak came to Valoranine after the war. He was broken, tired of killing. He begged the elders to let him sleep, deep below, far from the reach of those who wanted to use him again. They agreed, but only if a secret order of watchers would guard him. They called themselves the Keepers of the Flame. But over time, the Keepers were forgotten. Some were silenced. Others, like Resic, were locked away. "I tried to protect the truth," Resic said, "but lies are louder." Cade clenched his fists. "They're going to destroy him. I have to stop them." "You will," Resic said, "but not alone." Then he reached into a crack in the wall and pulled out a small golden crystal. It glowed the same way as Cade's mark. "Touch it," he said. Cade reached out. The moment his hand touched the crystal, the chains snapped open. Power surged through him. The mark on his hand blazed again, brighter than ever. Vornak's voice whispered in his mind, "I feel you again, human. You are not alone." At the same time, Lena was being held in another cell, but she wasn't afraid. She was angry. Using a tool she had hidden in her boot, she began cutting the lock on her door. A guard passed by. She hid. When he opened the door, she struck, fast and hard. The guard fell. She grabbed his weapon and ran. Cade and Lena found each other in the hallway. They didn't speak. They just nodded. Together, they ran toward the surface. But as they reached the upper level, alarms started to blare. Red lights flashed. Sirens screamed. On the screens above, the dragon's chamber was glowing. The ground had split open. Vornak was waking. The dragon rises. The sky above Valoranine was burning gold and red, not from fire, but from light. Golden cracks now covered the ground where the heart zone once was. They pulsed like the heartbeat of a giant. The earth trembled. The wind carried strange whispers. The farm workers had already dropped their tools and run for cover. Even the alien soldiers paused, unsure whether to shoot or flee. From above, the alien warships circled like vultures. Inside the main control ship, Commander Drexel stared at the screens. His cold black eyes narrowed. "The dragon is waking," he said. "Prepare all weapons." A soldier looked nervous. "Sir, what if it doesn't attack?" Drexel didn't blink. "If it breathes, we strike." Underground, the chamber where Vornak slept was no longer quiet. The dragon's wings slowly uncurled. One giant claw scraped the ground, sending sparks flying. His metal plates shifted with loud creaks, and golden fire lit up from deep inside his chest. His tail twitched. His head slowly rose. Vornak was no longer sleeping, and he was not happy. Above him, the ceiling cracked. Stone and dirt began to fall. He looked up. He could feel the weapons charging above the surface. He could sense fear, confusion, and betrayal. But then, he felt something else. Cade. Cade and Lena had made it to the open field. They stood at the edge of the glowing zone as the ground split apart. Pieces of rock flew into the air like birds. A deep roar came from beneath, like thunder trapped for 1,000 years. Then, with a blast of golden light, the ground exploded. From the crater, the dragon rose. Vornak. His wings stretched wide, longer than a spaceship. His eyes burned like twin suns. His body was part living beast, part ancient machine, covered in black and gold armor. Energy flowed through the tubes along his body like rivers of light. Lena gasped. He's beautiful. Cade stepped forward. He's alive. Vornak looked down at Cade. His huge head lowered slowly, and for a moment, the battlefield was quiet. You came back, the dragon said into Cade's mind. You freed me. I didn't do it alone, Cade replied. We're with you. Then the silence broke. A warship fired. The blast hit Vornak square in the chest. The dragon didn't even flinch. Instead, he spread his wings and let out a roar that shook the skies. His body lit up with golden energy. The mark on Cade's arm blazed in sync. Somehow, the dragon's power was flowing through him too, like they were connected now, more than ever. Lena grabbed Cade's arm. You're glowing. Cade felt it too. The fear was gone. Only purpose remained. They're going to attack again, Lena said. Then we protect him, Cade replied. From the hill behind them, alien tanks began to roll forward. Mech soldiers marched in lines, their weapons humming. But just before they could fire, Vornak moved, faster than anyone expected. He flew up into the sky with a flash of golden fire, spinning through the air like a living star. His tail crashed into one of the tanks, flipping it over like a toy. His wings sent gusts so strong, they blew several soldiers off their feet. A warship tried to shoot him down, but he opened his mouth and released a beam of pure light. It cut through the ship like paper. The sky was now his battlefield. Back on the ground, Commander Drexel shouted orders. All units, fire at will. Do not let him leave the planet. His soldiers obeyed, but they were terrified. Because this wasn't just an animal. This was a god waking up after centuries. And gods don't die easily. While the battle raged, Joran and Velon led a group of rebel aliens out of hiding. They joined Cade and Lena near the crater. We must stop the council's orders, Joran said. We need to turn the army against Drexel. Cade nodded. Then we help Vornak from both sides, sky and ground. Velon gave Cade a small device. This will let you speak to all rebel soldiers. They trust me. If you tell them the truth, they may follow. Cade took a deep breath. Then he spoke. This is Cade. His voice echoed through the air, reaching soldiers, workers, even the warships. You were told a monster slept beneath your land. But you weren't told the full truth. Vornak is not our enemy. He chose peace, not war. He asked to be buried so your world could be safe. But now, you've brought weapons. You've brought fear, and still, he did not strike first. Look at him. He's protecting us, even now. Cade's voice cracked with emotion. If you fight with fear, you will lose. But if you fight with truth, with honor, then fight with us. Something changed. Some soldiers dropped their weapons. Others turned on their commanders. The rebels rose. And in the skies above, Vornak let out another roar, not of rage, but of hope. For the first time in 1,000 years, the dragon flew freely, not for war, but for something greater. The war in the sky. The skies above Valora 9 had never looked like this. What was once a peaceful farming world was now lit with the fire of war. Ships circled like angry birds, weapons charged, engines howling. The soft winds of the planet had turned wild. The blue trees shook with every thunderous roar from above. And in the center of it all, Vornak, the dragon of fire and machine, soared like a god set free. His wings stretched across the heavens, each flap sending shockwaves through the clouds. His body glowed with ancient power. Lines of golden energy danced across his armor, and flames shimmered beneath his skin. But he was not alone anymore. On the ground, Cade stood surrounded by rebel fighters. Velon and Joran had rallied more than 100 alien workers, soldiers, and young farmers. They held weapons not to attack, but to protect. They had seen Vornak with their own eyes. They had heard Cade's words, and they believed him. He's not a weapon, Cade said again. He's a living soul. He wants peace. Velon nodded. Then let's give him something worth protecting. From the nearby hills, Drexel's forces approached. Heavy tanks, warwalkers, and elite guards dressed in dark armor. The battle was about to begin. Above them, Vornak dodged another blast from a warship. He twisted in the air, then spiraled straight toward the enemy. His tail whipped through the sky, smashing one ship's wing clean off. It fell like a rock into the distant trees. Drexel growled in rage aboard his command cruiser. "This ends now," he barked. "Fire the planet piercer cannon." A massive device unfolded from the belly of the ship. It glowed purple with destructive energy, something forbidden, something ancient. Zoran gasped when he saw it on the Rebel scanner. They're going to destroy the whole Heart Zone. Maybe more. Lena's eyes widened. They'll kill Vornak. And us. Back in the air, Vornak hovered still for a moment. He could feel the cannon powering up. He turned his head to the sky, eyes locked on the giant ship. And then, he dove. Faster than sound. His body turned into a streak of fire. He hit the command ship's shields with a crash that echoed across the planet. The ship shook violently. The cannon stopped charging, just for a moment. That was all Cade needed. Cade jumped on one of the alien hoverbikes, modified with stolen tech. Lena climbed on behind him, clutching a small EMP grenade. They blasted toward the hill where the cannon was being powered from a ground station. A glowing tower rose into the air, channeling energy to the ship. As they raced across the field, blaster fire zipped past them. Rebel fighters covered their path, returning fire. Cade pushed the bike harder. They were almost there. Lena stood on the bike for just 1 second, aimed, and threw. The EMP grenade hit the tower base and exploded in a shockwave of light. The tower cracked and shattered. The cannon lost power. Vornak was safe, for now. But the battle was far from over. Commander Drexel, burning with rage, stepped onto the battlefield himself. He wore ancient war armor powered by dark energy. His eyes glowed red with madness. He charged straight toward the rebels. "I will finish what history started," he shouted. "The dragon dies today." Cade jumped off the bike and faced him. "You're the one who should be afraid," Cade said. Drexel laughed. "You think a farmer can stop me." But then something strange happened. Cade's hand, marked with Vornak's fire, began to glow brighter than ever. His veins shimmered gold. His body felt lighter, stronger. Vornak's voice echoed in his mind. "Let me share my strength. We fight together now." Cade rushed forward with speed he didn't know he had. His punch cracked Drexel's armor. Sparks flew. Drexel struck back with brutal force, but Cade didn't fall. Instead, he absorbed the hit, using the energy to power his own strike. Every move was guided by something ancient and powerful. Around them, rebel and loyalist soldiers clashed. Lena led a team of freed workers, using stolen gear to disable the last of the tanks. Zoran faced off against a former council general, and even Velon fought like a warrior. But above it all, Vornak watched and waited. Cade and Drexel clashed again and again, metal against fire, power against purpose. Finally, as Drexel lifted his blade for a killing strike, Vornak came down from the sky like a comet. He landed behind Cade with a thunderous roar. The ground cracked. The sky shook. Vornak stood tall, wings wide, eyes burning. Drexel froze. "No," he said, stepping back. "You should be under our control." Vornak's voice filled the air, not just in minds, but out loud, for all to hear. "I was never yours. I was never made to serve fear. I chose peace. I chose this human. And now, I choose freedom." Vornak opened his mouth, and instead of fire, he released a pulse of light. It washed over the battlefield. Weapons melted. Engines shut down. Only living beings remained standing. Drexel's armor broke apart. He fell to his knees, powerless. Cade looked down at him. "It's over," he said. Drexel looked up with hollow eyes. "You don't understand what you've done." But Cade did. He had helped awaken not just a dragon, but a new future. As the dust settled, rebel flags were raised across the farm. The warships withdrew. And for the first time in centuries, Valor was no longer ruled by fear. Vornak soared once more, not to escape, but to guard. A new bond, a new era. The war was over. The sun rose slowly over the farms of Valor, painting the land in soft gold. The wind that once carried dust and danger now felt calm again, rushing across the fields like a gentle hand. The sky, once filled with warships, was quiet. But it wasn't just the world that had changed. Everyone had changed. Cade stood on a hill overlooking the Heart Zone, or what was left of it. Where the dragon had first risen, there was now a wide, glowing crater, alive with green shoots, golden flowers, and warm earth. Life was returning. The land was healing, as if Vornak's power had soaked into the soil. Cade's hand still bore the mark, but it no longer burned. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat that now matched his own. Vornak was not near, but Cade could feel him, resting somewhere high in the clouds. Watching, dreaming. The new government had formed fast. The old council, led by Drexel, had been dismantled. Some of its members fled. Others surrendered. A new alliance had taken shape, made of rebels, farmers, former soldiers, and those who had once feared Vornak, but now understood him. Joran had been asked to join the council, but he refused. "I've done my part," he said. "Let the young ones lead now." Instead, Lena was chosen as one of the planet's new voices. Her bravery, clear heart, and sharp mind had inspired many. She smiled when Cade asked her how she felt. "I just wanted to grow crops," she said. "Now I'm writing laws." Cade laughed. "I just wanted to fix soil machines. Now I'm friends with a dragon." Not far from the Heart Zone, a temple was being built, not a place of worship, but a place of remembrance. It would hold the story of Vornak, not as a weapon, not as a monster, but as a living being who chose peace over power, rest over rage. Children helped paint murals. Elders told stories to groups of visitors. Some people simply sat near the edge of the crater, closing their eyes and listening to the wind. They swore they could still hear the dragon's heartbeat in the earth. And maybe they could. One morning, Cade walked deep into the valley, past the farms, past the new roads and buildings. He came to a quiet lake surrounded by tall blue trees. There, he found Vornak, resting beside the water. His wings were folded. His eyes were half closed. He looked like part of the landscape, vast, ancient, and calm. Cade approached slowly. "You're getting good at hiding," he said. Vornak opened one golden eye. "I wasn't hiding. I was listening." "To what?" "The world. It sings differently now. Softer. Free." Cade sat on a rock near the dragon's tail. "You're not leaving, are you?" "No. But you're not going back to sleep either." ***, no. Vornak repeated. "There is no need to hide anymore." They sat in silence for a while. The water rippled. Birds sang. Then Cade asked the question that had been on his heart. "Why me?" Vornak didn't speak for a long moment. Then, in a voice like deep thunder softened by time, he said, "Because you were not afraid to listen. When others saw danger, you saw life. When others brought weapons, you brought questions. That is what saves worlds. Not power, but understanding." Cade nodded slowly. "So what now?" "Now," Vornak said, rising slowly, his wings unfolding like great sails, "we build something better." Months passed. Valor 9 began to glow again, not with fire, but with progress. New schools were opened where alien and human children learned together. Old battleships were melted down to build bridges, towers, and wind machines. The rebel flag was lowered, replaced with a new symbol. A dragon curled around a glowing star, its wings open wide. Not a symbol of fear, but of protection. Cade and Lena led projects to rebuild damaged farms using a mix of alien and human tech. They created the first shared farming guild, offering food freely to those in need across nearby planets. Other worlds began to take notice. If a dragon and a farmer could bring peace, maybe others could too. On the anniversary of the awakening, people gathered at the temple. They lit lanterns, told stories, and sang songs of fire and friendship. Then, at sunset, Vornek flew across the sky once more. He didn't roar. He didn't shine with rage. He simply soared, gold against the red sky, like a promise that peace had wings and would always return. In the end, the dragon did not burn the world. He guarded it, not from above, but with it. And in the hearts of every farmer, every child, every worker and warrior who once looked up in fear, there was now a memory of a single ancient truth. Even the strongest creatures in the galaxy can choose kindness.